All right, last tape. Sorry, I'm a little bit hoarse. This is going to be about Hurdas. I will emphasize the parts of the story you have to know the whole story in general, but the parts of the story you need to know well. Those are the parts that I'm going to ask on the test. So please pay careful attention. Starting the Gemara over here, Hurdas. After the base Chashmonai, Have Hurdas was a slave in the house of the Chashmonaim. Nasan Edom Otitinoket. He fell in love with one of the maidens that lived there. Yom Echad, one day, Shamu Gavra Baskala heard the sort of Baskala, the voice to Amar that said, Kol Avda Tamarat Hashta Matzlach. Any Eved, any slave who is rebels is going to be Mutzlach, is going to be successful. He got up, he killed all his Adonim, all his masters. And the only one left from the whole household was this girl that he loved. This girl realized that her just wanted to marry her. She went up to the roof, Ramakala, in a big voice. She said, anybody that comes from the house that claims to be the house of Chashmonaim is really a slave. So because I'm the only one left from the entire household, and I'm committing suicide. There's nobody left. And who this guy, he's an Eved. He preserved her body for 7 years in honey. Some say he had sexual relations with her. Some say that never happened. So those that said he did have relations, the reason why he preserved the body was to satisfy his Yetzer Hara. That he did not have relations. The reason why he preserved her, that everybody that he should be able to say, Bas Melech Nasav, that he was actually at some point married to the daughter of the king, to the princess. Amar. Okay, this is the part you need to know. Hurdas said, Man Darish, who are the ones that interpreted the pasuk, Mikerev achacha tasim alacha melech. This pasuk talking about the responsibilities or the qualifications of a melech, say he has to be a born Jew, Mikerev achacha. And the rabbi said, an Eved, or someone that's not a born Jew, or a ger, cannot become a melech. And of course, that would nullify Hurdas. So he was very angry at the rabbis for coming up with this drasha. He says, Rabbanan, the rabbis did it. So he killed all the rabbis, and he just left Baba Bambutza alive to be able to ask him advice. That's the first important part that you need to know. Okay, let's move on. He put some sort of crown with porcupine quills, and he blinded him. Yom Echad, one day, Asav Kameh. Hurdas stand in front of Baba Bambutza. Baba Bambutza had no idea who it was. And Hurdas just tried to make himself into regular Joe. Amar, and he said, Chazi Mar Hayavda Bisha Mike Ovid. So he said to Baba Bambutza, you know what this horrible Eved, the slave, has done? Amalei, my Avidlei. So Baba Bambutza said, what can I possibly do? He did what he did. Amalei, Niltai Yamar, why don't you curse him? Amalei, so Baba Bambutza answered the pasuk in Koheles, Gamba Ma'adacha Melech Al Tekalel. Even in your thoughts, you shouldn't curse the king. Amalei, I love Melech. He said, it's not a king, he's an Eved. Amalei, Vilhave Asher B'Alma, even if he's just rich. The same pasuk says, in your bedroom, you shouldn't curse a rich person. And even if he's just an important person like a nasi, like a leader, that you're not supposed to go ahead and curse one of the leaders of your community. So Baba Bambutza refused to curse him. Amalei, so this imposter answered Baba Bambutza, the only time you're not allowed to curse the nasi is when he's acting respectfully. By love, but this Hurdas guy, he's not acting respectfully. So Baba Bambutza says, I'm scared of him. Amalei. So the imposter says to Baba Bambutza, like inish to also to Malay to Anavat Yisivna. He said, there's nobody's going to tell him what happens in this room. It's just you and me. So why don't you give a good curse? Amalei, so Bambuta, quoting the last part of the pasuk, Siv said in the pasuk, "Ki ofa shemaim yilicha takol uval kanafayim yakid tavar." A little birdie will fly out and tell him, "I'm not telling him. I'm not doing anything to hurt us." Amalei, so the imposter that identified themselves says, I'm him. Anahu, I'm him. I'm Urtus. And I would have known that the rabbis were so careful, I would not have killed them. Hashta my takante dugavra. At this point, what can I do to correct that which I have done? Amalei. So Baba Bambuta says, and again, this part you have to know, not the psukim, but the idea. I'll stress what you have to know. Hu chaba orosh shalom. You just went ahead and extinguished the light of the world. Dichsiv kiner mitzvah b'Torah, or says in the pasuk, the mitzvah is the ner, is like a candle, and Torah is the light. You destroyed the Talmidei Chachamim. Yelach v'yasak ba'orosh shalom. So he should go ahead. He should busy himself with another beacon of light. Dichsiv v'naharu elav kol hagoyim. It says that all the goyim, all the world will come, and like a river will flow towards the Beit HaMikdash. So essentially, he said the Beit HaMikdash is going to be the replacement for the Chachamim. That's his first cheshbon, why the Beit HaMikdash is the proper way to be mitzakein, to rectify that which he did. Some say, no, it's a different conversation. But Bambuta said, he blinded the eyes of the world. The Torah describes the Sanhedrin as Einei Ha'edah, the eyes of the people. And by killing the members of Sanhedrin, he blinded the people. So he should go ahead and busy himself with another eye of the world. T'chsiv, as it says about the Beit HaMikdash, the Beit HaMikdash is called Machmad Einechem, the beauty of your eye. So the two reasons why the Beit HaMikdash was the appropriate response, either that it's a beacon of light, or it's like the eyes of the Jewish people. So Amalei, so this answers, Baba Babuta says, Mistafina Malchus, I can't rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. I'm scared of the Malchus, I'm scared of the Romans. The Romans aren't going to like it. So Baba Babuta gives him an idea. Says Amalei, says to him, go send some sort of messenger, V'lezel Shata, let the messenger take a year to get there, V'la'akir Shata, and let him stay there for a year, V'la'ad Shata, take him another year to get back. And during that time, those 3 years, such a lake could destroy the first Beis HaMikdash, and build the new Beis HaMikdash. Avarachi. So Hurdas took his idea. He did exactly that. The Romans then sent back a message. If you have not yet taken down the Beit HaMikdash that was there, out the store, don't take it down. And if you did take it down, out of the, don't build a new one. And if you took it down and built a new one, you lowly eved, you lowly slave. After you go ahead and you do something, then you ask. There was a caught on to this ploy. In Zainach Allah, you may think that you're armed. Sefrach Khan, we have your Sefer of Yuchsim. We know who you are. We know that you're just a lowly slave. Lo raka lo bar raka, that you are not the son of it. You're not a king. You're not a son of a king. Hurdas ava kalanya misabed. Hurdas is just an eved. He's just a slave, and he did something bad. So my raka. So they called him that you're not a raka. Raka means a king. Malchusa means a king. Tiksiv anochia yom rach u'mashuach melech. This is David HaMelech called himself Rach. So the Racha is the king. V'ibasema me'acha. From the parsha, not this week, but next week, they called in front of Yosef Avrech. So it's sort of the Reich Raka is a melech. Amri, they said, you have to know this. Misha lo ra'ab binyan hurdas, la arab binyan miyamav. Anybody that didn't see this new Beis HaMikdash never saw a beautiful building. But my Baja, what did he use to build it? Amarabba. Rabba says, Ishisha Mirma, with marble, blue marble, and green marble. Ikata Amri, Ba'avne Kuchla, it was blue stone. Shisha Mirma, Afik Shva, Ayil Shva. And so the way that he built it jagged. One row was sticking out, the rest was indented. Ki Hechi Denak Bilsida, in order that the cement should really hold. Sovereign Mishai B'Dahava, he thought that he gilded the whole thing with gold. Amle Rabbanan, the rabbi said, Shafke, leave it alone. Tahaki Shaper Tvei, that it looks better this way. The Mechse Ki Advasa Diamba looks like the waves of the sea. This part you got to know. Baba Barbuta, Hechi Abrahaki. How did Baba Barbuta give him this Eitzah to go ahead and build the Beit Mikdash? V'amar Rav Yehuda Marav. Didn't Rav Yehuda say in the name of Rav Yitem? Some say Rav Yeshua ben Levi. Said in the name of Yeshua ben Levi. Neiman Nesh Daniel. Neshehesi Esi Eitzah Nebuchadnezzar. We know that Daniel was a part of the royal entourage of Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar had a horrible dream. And Nebuchadnezzar knew that Daniel knew how to interpret dreams. And Daniel interpreted the dream very unfavorably for Nebuchadnezzar, that he was going to be destroyed. But Daniel said, if you go ahead and you get stuck out to the Aniyim, then your punishment is going to be delayed. Shanamar, because this is what Daniel said, Lehen Malka, Malki Yishaper Allah B'chatayich B'tztaka Proch. If you get staka, it's going to redeem you. V'visich B'mechen Anyanhein. That if you give money to the poor, that you're going to have another year of peace. Eventually, everything in the dream happened, but happened 12 months late. And so Daniel gave him this advice. And we're going to see that Daniel was punished for giving him this advice. So how did Baba Bambuta give the advice? When Horza said, how do I redeem myself for killing all the Chachamim? How do you give him advice? Build the Beit HaMikdash. Not supposed to give a Goyish king advice. So 2 answers. You need to know these answers. Ibaz Ema. Some say Shani Avad Dechai B'mitzvos. Horza was different than Nebuchadnezzar because he had been an Eved. And an Eved does quasi-gerus, like a little bit of gerus. And he had to do mitzvahs. So he was allowed to give him this eitzah. He was allowed to give this advice. Another answer, Shani Beis HaMikdash, that this advice to build the Beit HaMikdash is different. It wouldn't be for a king, lo betavne. It wasn't going to get built. So Baba Bambuta saw an opportunity. This is the way we're going to rebuild the Beit HaMikdash. It's only going to be through the king. And therefore he felt that it was right to go ahead and give him advice. For Daniel Minal and Dianash, how do we know that Daniel was punished for giving advice to Nebuchadnezzar? Some say Mishum Dechsev says we cannot Esther, but Takra Esther Lahasach. That when Esther wanted to communicate with Mordechai, she called one of her attendants. That attendant's name was Hasach. But Amarav, and Rav explained, Hasach said Daniel. Hasach was another name for Daniel. So apparently, he had been a very, very mechubad member, respected member of the king's entourage, and now he's just an attendant to Esther. So Gemara says, Hanicha, all that answer makes sense. This was Daniel's punishment. Laman to Amar, according to the opinion, that Asach means that he was taken down from his gedulah, from his high position. That was his punishment. But according to the other interpretation, Asach means that everything went through his office, including Esther. So everything went in through his office, and Asach, he saw a very mechubad place in the king's entourage. Where was the punishment? What can we say? Where was the punishment? So Gemara says, that we know in the course of Daniel's life, he was thrown into the lion's den for davening. For davening, and the other people, the other sarim, the other ministers told on him, and Nebuchadnezzar was forced to put into the lion's den, and that was his punishment. Thank you very much, everybody. B'hatzlacha.